I will be 40 weeks pregnant in officially 2 days, which is so crazy. I'm going to be sharing with y'all what I eat today at 40 weeks pregnant. I haven't done one of these videos since I was about 28 weeks pregnant, 27, 28. I was still like right at the end of the second trimester. And my eating has changed quite a bit. When you get to this stage of pregnancy, your belly just takes up, baby in your belly just takes up so much room. It feels like your stomach is just squished up in there. So definitely eating smaller, more frequent meals just to still get all of my nutritional intake in, but in smaller portions. So I have breakfast with my husband usually, and then I have a little second mini breakfast with the kids if they're not awake to eat with us. And then it kind of just flows throughout the day, and I'll bring you along for all of that. This will be closing out what I eat in pregnancy, and then we'll be into the postpartum time, which I actually eat even more in the postpartum breastfeeding time because your nutritional demands do go up quite a bit when you're breastfeeding. So I'll definitely squeeze some of those videos in as I'm in that breastfeeding season for you guys. If you're kind of following along with this pregnancy and maybe you're a few weeks or months behind me and you just want some ideas, as always, I focus on high quality, whole food, nutritional, mineral support. So I'll be sharing all of that with y'all, and I hope y'all enjoy this video. Don't pour it.
Mama, please use that toy.
Now is the time of the morning that I take my supplements, mainly because my beef liver has thawed. I usually pop this out of the freezer at 7-ish o'clock, and by 10 it's thawed enough to take. So what I have is raw beef liver. You can take this in a capsule form. This is a great source of iron and copper if you are trying to get your iron intake like where it needs to be for pregnancy. Iron is extremely overstressed in pregnancy. I'll link a podcast down below that really talks about it. You want to make sure your iron is properly balanced with copper. So I take a chlorophyll supplement.
Now where's copper?
Copper is in chlorophyll. This is the actual bottle, but when you pour it out of it, it gets everywhere. So I put it in a little dropper bottle. Copper is a mineral. Don't run into tan, please. Add it to my orange juice to take.
Copper looks like TV.
Oh, like on Fox and the Hound? That's right. Add it to my orange juice for the liver shot. So that is that. A liver shot? Sure, you can come take one. They always get in on my liver shots. Do you want your own juice, or do you want this with the chlorophyll?
I don't mind orange juice.
Alright, drink your orange juice. Good.
I took a liver shot.
I take Shilajit. I've taken this the entire pregnancy.
I did it. I like it.
Good. This has 84.
Mama, it makes me healthy.
It does make you healthy. You take your liver shot? Drink your juice. Good job, Tan. Over 80 something trace minerals, high quality, very good for pregnancy. For group B strep, I am not testing for group B strep, but I treat myself like I have it, so I take preventative measures. So I take fermented garlic and a probiotic. Fermented garlic.
Mom, can I have some probiotic?
You can, yes. Fermented garlic is a little strong, but
liver
you can do it.
The liver. Maybe that might be helpful.
It does. All right, let's get our probiotic. The fermented garlic and the probiotic are for croup strep preventative measures. I also,
now what are you telling? I'm in the mirror.
Now that they've moved on from the liver shots. As I was saying, fermented garlic. This is just water and garlic that was allowed to sit on the counter and ferment for about 5 days. Also, avoiding processed refined sugar is a good thing to do for preventing group B strep. Vitamin E. I shared my whole supplement routine in another video. Now I'm going to make some NORA tea. This is just nettle, oat straw, red raspberry leaf, and alfalfa, hence NORA, N-O-R-A, the 4 herbs. I make it every day now. I make it like mid-afternoon. Once I finish my last glass, I put it out on the porch to let it sun, steep, or overnight. You want a tea infusion. You don't just want to make a tea. So I make an infusion and it goes in the fridge. So then I like it cold, but you could also warm it. So I just have this nice strainer lid on top. It makes it so convenient to pour. We'll go ahead and make some more now. And I always add a splash of maple syrup. It just kind of gives a little bit of a flavor. The tea by itself does not have the best flavor, but with a splash of maple syrup or lemon, which I don't have any right now. Actually, I do. I do have lemon. This is so good. A splash of lemon really makes this tea quite delicious. So consuming things such as NORA tea is also really good at keeping your mineral stores up, making sure your iron is at the proper ratios. Nettle is very high in iron. Nettle is a great just female herb in general for pregnancy, postpartum, your cycles. Just always will have nettle on hand. I know a lot of women take it when they are on their period and it really helps, but NORA tea is great. I highly recommend it through the entire female reproductive stage of life. I've only been taking it this pregnancy, but I will probably continue taking it, drinking it, postpartum, in between pregnancies, breastfeeding, just all the time because it is delicious and it's so healthy for the female body. Okay, so I'm gonna sip on this. The kids just went to play on the porch. I need to get some form of like a snack in me because it is mid-morning and all I've had is breakfast, that pumpkin coffee yoki drink. So I'll probably get a quick little snack right now before we play a little longer and move on to lunch. Snack is gonna be a gummy with some cheese and dates and honey. Just a balance of protein, fat, carbs. I try to balance all meals, all carbs with a fat or protein. This has both. Dates and cheese are phenomenal. I just shared this new cheese we got from Azure Standard in my last video. It's so good. It's raw cheddar cheese. We're at the stage where the belly is a good table to hold your food on. Also at the stage of pregnancy where it's more comfortable to just stand up and eat than try to sit down on a stool or a chair, even my exercise ball. At dinner time I used to sit on the exercise ball because sitting in a chair is just so uncomfortable at this point. I used to wait till my kids woke up to have my afternoon snack, but they have been sleeping so late here lately, like till almost 4:30, and by then I'm usually pretty hungry. They've been taking really good naps, so hopefully that continues when baby gets here, just to give me that little afternoon break. Anyways, I'm having the exact same yoki drink I had this morning with the added pumpkin, the cold brew coffee. This is absolutely delicious. I am one of those people that wait until fall to actually start all the fall pumpkin things. I love them, but I do wait till fall so I can truly enjoy them. And we were having our first cool day here in Mississippi, like 50 degree. I think it's only a 2-day cold front, so we'll be back into 70s and 80s by the end of the week. But I'm enjoying this today, along with some homemade granola bars. This is a new recipe I've actually just tried out. They are the chewiest, best flavored granola bars. I'll link the recipe down below. They call for lots of add-ins like chocolate chips and raisins and dates. I should have added dates, but I just added dried apples. But once we get some extra add-ins, these will be absolutely delicious. But they have the best flavor. We love granola. We love granola bars. We love oatmeal. We just stocked up on a huge 25-pound bag of organic oats from Azure Market. That was in my last video, so check that out if you want to start bulk buying some of your groceries, because we were going through oats so quickly and they're quite expensive, the ones we were buying at the grocery store. But I'm making all the granola bars. This is now my 3rd time to already make these, and I will definitely probably freezing a few to put in the freezer for postpartum, because oats are good in the postpartum time as well. I know I love any kind of drink with raw milk. Tyler's actually bringing home our raw milk pickup today to freshly stock our fridge and freezer with milk, probably for the last time before baby gets here. This will be my first time to be drinking this much milk in the breastfeeding season, so I'm anxious to see how the raw cow's milk in this much abundance, because I have like 2 of these a day at least, y'all, and then usually a hot chocolate drink a night with raw milk, how that affects my milk supply. I had a really poor milk supply with Riggs, although I think some of that stems from his birth. It was a pretty traumatic experience, and birth directly correlates and affects breast milk production. If you didn't know that, check out my traumatic 77-hour birth story. Beautiful birth, turned out beautiful, but it was very, very long, very traumatic. Affected my milk supply. With Tanner Joel, my milk supply was fine, but it was just normal. I did have to go back to work, so I was pumping. I was drinking raw milk, but more so along the lines of an occasional, I would make yogurt with it. I would occasionally throw it in some like granola for cereal. Was not drinking this much raw milk, so I'm anxious to see how that affects milk supply this time, if it's any different. I'll let y'all know. Dinner was sourdough pizza. I started by rolling out my dough. I finally got the consistency down of our pizza dough. It pretty much turns out good every time. You can kind of toss it like this, like you always see them do in the movies, and it makes the best pizza dough. I'll link my actual recipe down below. Then I made just a simple cream Alfredo sauce. So making a sauce is not as intimidating as it seems. I usually start with butter, some sort of vegetable. Tonight I just used garlic. You could use onions. Bone broth, really just to boost the nutritional value and also just help everything give it a lot of flavor. Flour will thicken it, and a few spices. I use some red pepper flakes tonight, and just stir until it thickens into that creamy sauce. If it gets too thick, you can always add a little more bone broth or some milk or cream. I did add milk on this night. And then some of that raw cheddar cheese that I have been talking to y'all about this whole video. Now this chicken, guys, we butchered about 4 of our laying hens this past weekend. They were not laying anymore. They were over 2 years old, but they were the pitifulest birds. There was hardly any meat on there, so you can see me struggling to get any meat off. I just quickly baked this in the oven. There was hardly even any breast meat, leg meat, just pretty much enough to get enough to put some flavor on our pizza. It was pretty sad how scrawny these birds were, who weren't small birds. They were actually should have had quite a bit more meat on them. So I assembled the pizza, super simple meal. Added a little bit of Thrive Market pasta sauce to my creamy Alfredo sauce, some cheese, popped it back in the oven, and we had a delicious, delicious pizza dinner. My family always loves pizza night. There's usually never any leftovers, maybe a couple pieces for Tyler's lunch. I need to start doubling our pizza recipe so we have more leftovers, because it is just so, so good. Good evening. I don't know how many times I've ended out on what I eat in a day with bone broth hot chocolate. It is a staple, super easy to make. It's 4 ingredients, 5 if you add the extra collagen. I'll make it for you one more time. Bone broth, we always have bone broth on hand. Just add about maybe a 1/4 cup of bone broth. I don't ever measure this, y'all. Raw milk. Basically double the raw milk to the bone broth. So if you added a 1/4 cup of bone broth, you're gonna add about a 1/2 cup of raw milk. Maple maple syrup, a tablespoon or two of maple syrup, and a tablespoon or two of cacao powder. That's it. Now I'm gonna put this on the oven, stove top, let it warm. I'll use my frother to incorporate it all. I always say if you don't have a frother, that is the easiest way to do this because I can just incorporate it together. An immersion blender would work, but it would probably make a mess. You could stir it, but I found the cacao doesn't blend as well. So if you don't have a frother, like this, I need to find the end to it. Of course, it was under a mound of dishes. If you don't have a frother like this, you can blend the ingredients first and then warm them. This is also good as a cold drink, like a chocolate milk drink. You don't taste the bone broth, but it is cold here tonight. Our first cold night of the year, and we're gonna have some hot chocolate. So if you're using raw milk, you don't want to heat it too much to heat out the good nutrition in the raw milk. So I just barely let it get warm, and then I'll sip on it while we hang out for a little bit this evening with Tyler. And thank y'all for watching this 40-week pregnancy video. What I eat in a day. Baby could be here any day. I'm technically 39.5, so not quite 40 weeks, but when you're watching this, I will officially be 40 weeks. I could have a baby, I could still be pregnant. I'll keep y'all updated, but I always love sharing with y'all what I eat and how I incorporate nutrient dense, mineral rich foods into my diet to keep me hormonally balanced, especially through pregnancy. It's so important. Hormones are already all over the place in pregnancy. Keeping them balanced with mineral rich, nutrient rich foods is so important. I will probably add a pinch of, not that salt, high quality Icelandic sea salt, just to get the benefits. I find when I drink something with salt before bed, or something with salt on it before bed, I sleep so much better. Same thing with milk. When we were out of milk for a little while and I wasn't having some form of a milk drink at night, I was not sleeping as good. I definitely noticed a difference. So thank y'all so much for being here today, and I will see y'all in a future video. I better pour Tyler some too.